efficient shooting, but you have to be able to deliver. I think one thing with Devin Booker's finding out about his game is that going into the summer and next season, he's going to have to learn how to mix it up a little bit. Great jump shooter, one of the best mid-range games that we've seen, but he has to figure out a way to get to the foul line, make the game easier for himself. Stop putting so much pressure on your jump shot. When you're a great scorer, you can do it in a lot of different ways, but most great scorers know how to get to the line, get some easy buckets, maybe get something in transition. Don't rely everything to be heavily on your jump shot. And then also continue to play the game. You know, at this game, Chris Paul, those guys were in the game. They were still, the bench was playing well. Cam Johnson came off the bench. Aiden got out to a good start. Sometimes you have to figure it out as the game goes along. Now, I do not like Monty Williams not playing him in the fourth quarter. I'll just take you back to a scenario in my history of playing where I decided to be the leader of the team. And I was a part of the biggest comeback in NBA playoff history in the Eastern Conference Finals, where I ran it when I went off on Paul Pierce. It wasn't the fact that I thought we could actually win the game. I just wanted him to get his confidence back, start to be aggressive. I felt like he was not being the person that he needed to be, the player he was trying to be. And we ended up coming back winning, and Paul ends up having a monster fourth quarter. It's probably not that serious being it's just game 3, but they need Devin Booker. They cannot win this series with Devin Booker scoring 10 points. It's just not going to happen. I love Bridges. I love Jay Crowder, and Jay Crowder shot the basketball well, Cam Johnson. They don't have the capabilities of a Devin Booker that Chris Paul is going to need. He's going to need that Robin to make things happen for him. So they cannot win this series with him having 10 points. He's going to have to figure it out. And it can't just be jump shots. He's going to have to be getting to the line and making some other things happen, getting out in transition. That's where he's going to have to make up for sometimes when the shot is not going well for you in the half court.
So, listen, I agree with almost all of that. I don't put last night on him, however. Last night, to me, was more about what the Bucks did than what the Suns didn't do. But on the Suns side of things, there is a concerning sign for Booker. And Wilds, I'm going to bounce a couple numbers off you. 36% from the field and 29% from 3. That's Devin Booker over the last 8 playoff games. Since game 1 against the Clippers, after that to right now, he has been below 50% shooting in every single game. In fact, of the 19 playoff games they've played, he's been over 50% shooting 4 times. And each series, his percentages have dropped. He was a 48-43 guy, percentage from field and 3 against the Lakers. That dropped to 48-31 against Denver, then 38-29 against the Clippers. And this series against Milwaukee, it's 38-33, so 3-point percentage up a tiny bit. And in this series against Milwaukee Wilds, he's had one good half. He was 8 of 21 in game 1. He was 4 of 12 in the first half of game 2, and he was bad the entire game last night. Now, the second half of game 2, he was outstanding and helped them win the game. But I don't know if he's wearing down. This is the most games he's ever played in a year by a wide margin. This is obviously the deepest into a year he's ever played, having never made the playoffs. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but this is a guy who makes his living on tough shots. It's why they bring up the Kobe stuff, because it's like, wow, he makes such difficult contested shots. Well, yeah, he does. But it's hard to get easy points that way. And he has actually been struggling from an efficiency standpoint since game 1 against the Clippers when he went off for 40. He's been a 36% shooter and less than 30% from 3. That is concerning for the Suns because that sample size is growing and growing.
Okay, so unless he's quietly hurt and we don't know about it, or unless he's severely fatigued, sort of like long-term fatigued from the amount of games, since they had a bunch of days off and they're not playing again until Wednesday, I would have gone the opposite way, Brandon, and I would have just let him shoot out of it, right? Just like, hey, we're probably going to lose this game. We're down big, but we're not going to give up. I'm going to go the exact opposite. I'm going to throw you in like, find your shot. Just get some shots, get in rhythm. Now, I think Monty Williams has obviously built up so much like goodwill and capital with the players that you got to see it here, where you see like, you know what? you just benched what I think is a superstar in the fourth quarter of a finals game, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of pushback. So I actually think it's an interesting chess move from Monty Williams. And if Devin Booker comes back huge on Wednesday, where I think we can point to this and be like, wow, brilliant move. If he continues to struggle, I don't know what we do. I would prefer he shoots out of it. What would you do?
Yeah. This is a different star, right? This is a star that is built a little differently. He doesn't have an ego like some others. And then also this team, they've been selfless all year. That's why they're in this position. So I think it was a bold move, but it probably was a good move. Sometimes you can look in the player's eyes and you can know it's just not their night. And sometimes the best thing for them is to hit the showers a little early. And that's what they did. They just sent them to the bench just a little early. But, Nick, I looked at those numbers too, and the numbers told me a different story. Now, I do think there's something to look at, right? Because you got to look at his performance. It's like, what's going on now? But basically, you got to look at when he got his nose broken. Pat Beverly broke his nose, okay? In that Clippers series. Before that, the way I looked at it was before then he was damn near 50% from the field, almost 40% from three. Since then, now you're starting to see his play and those percentages decrease. So now we're looking at 36% from the field and 28% from three, right? So I don't know if it's one of those things where the nose is still playing a major factor into this. You know, since he's come back and he's taken off the mask, he's been hit 2 times in the nose. There's been 2 times where we've seen him fall to the ground, hold his nose. So maybe he's afraid, Twan, to actually dribble, penetrate because of the contact. I don't know, but I think you got to look at when he got his nose broken and see the difference before and after.
Let me help you out, Nick and Brandon. I think, Nick, those are great stats, and that was great to point out. I think those speak volumes. But let's be honest. You played against the Lakers the first round. They had nobody that can guard it. You played against Denver, a scrappy team. They made it a little tough, but really nobody to guard. The Clippers series was grueling. You had Pat Beverly after game 1, made it tough for him every which way possible. He went against one of the toughest defenders that ever played a game of basketball in Patrick Beverly, and it wore him down. And it shows. On top of that, Brandon, I think the broken nose played a big factor too. You know, this guy showed a lot of toughness playing. Obviously, you saw him try to play with the mask. He took it off. He couldn't do it. You never know how that could be affecting him. But I'm not going to make no excuses for him. All those things. But all those things are great. When you a scorer, the best thing a scorer wants to do is to see the ball go in the basket. So whether that's get out and out on the break, getting a layup, is that getting to the free throw line, that's what shooters do to get out and get off the bad shooting stop. They got to see something go in the basket. He has to start games off like that. It's tough to start games off shooting threes and shooting 15-footers. You got to figure it out. Get a layup. Maybe draw up a lob for him. These are things that get you out your slump to get going. I'm going to say it again. Right. He cannot have 10-point performances if they Phoenix Suns think they're going to beat the Milwaukee Bucks. No. It will not happen. They don't have enough offensive firepower for him to have too many performances like that.
No, because while Ayton is super efficient, Ayton's not going for 30. Ayton's going to, the best Ayton game is 9 for 11 for 20 points, right? And Chris Paul, we've seen it a few times, but we know Chris Paul typically is not going to go north of 25 points, even though he's had a few monster scoring performances this postseason. The guy who can erupt is Booker. And Brandon, I wasn't even, I'll be totally honest, thinking about the broken nose since he took the mask off, but that is the moment.
Right.
It is from game 2 of the Clippers series to now, to when he broke his nose, and it's when the percentages have really plummeted. So I think there is probably something there.
And like Twan said, he can't rely just on his shot, but he may be relying on his shot because since then he's been hit, like I said, twice in that nose. We've seen him drop to the ground holding his nose, so he may be afraid of contact right now. But the conversation just changed for me, Twan. The conversation changed when you just said Pat Beverly, one of the greatest defenders ever. Like, you know better than I do. I know he's known for defense, but I mean, you kind of snuck that in there. You like threw that in there. You sprinkled that in there. Because I know you want to take that back? You want to retract that?
Well, he had a bad ending to the season. He's from Chicago. That's my boy. I just wanted to show him a little love, man. That's
there you go. Oh, there it is. No,